So you just met someone and you really like them, but you're not sure if you should start dating them yet. Well, here we want to give you 5 questions you should ask them before you start dating. Stay tuned. Hey guys, in today's video we're going to be talking about a couple questions that you should ask before getting into a serious relationship. But before we do that, I want to share with you guys kind of what we're going to be doing for the next entire month.
We want to do a video for every single day for the month of February.
And this month's theme is dating and relationships. And so we wanted to start this off. We know that February is kind of a month that's dedicated to romance and things like that with Valentine's Day. And so we thought that we would share with you guys a couple of videos that a lot of you guys have been asking. Let us know what your questions are and we will do a couple dedicated videos to some suggested questions that you guys have. But let's go ahead and dive into the video. 5 things that you want to ask before getting into a serious relationship.
Okay, so the first question is, what do you consider your mission in life to be? It's important to know what the person's mission and values are in life and if they align with yours, because what is the end goal really? Are you gonna be like way off on your direction in life and the other person is as well? So
yeah, there's a really great passage in, I think it's Alice in Wonderland, where the person comes to a fork in the road and that crazy looking cat is up in the tree and they ask the cat, hey, which direction should I take? And the cat says, it depends on where you want to go. And the person says, well, I don't really know where I want to go. And so the cat says, then it really doesn't matter which direction you take. And I think that's such a great example, illustration of you need to know what you're hoping to get out of the relationship. You need to know what's your purpose, what's your mission in life, because if you don't know that, then honestly, it doesn't matter who you date. Date anybody because you have no clue yet. So find out your mission, ask the other person what theirs is, and do they align? Question number 2 to ask is, what is one of your greatest failures in the past and what did you learn from it? I like this question a lot because it assumes a couple things. It assumes, number 1, that they have failed in the past. And if this person can't say, you know what, there's no real thing that comes to mind, that's an issue. That's a red flag in my mind. Why don't they feel like they've ever made a mistake in the past? Because I guarantee you, they're not perfect. So what is it that they're missing? Are they just naive? Are they in denial? What is the question there? But I think you can learn a lot from finding out about their failures.
Yeah, and is a person open to growth and development in their life? If they're just like, oh, I'm perfect and I'm this type of person, then that's kind of a red flag too. Are they open to growing and learning more?
Yeah, I think it's really interesting to hear from the person where they felt like they failed in the past before, because you actually get to learn a lot about that person. You get to learn about their hopes and their dreams, their aspirations, but then you also get to learn about what happens to them when they fail under pressure. Because in your relationship, at some point in time, they're gonna go through a failure. And it's important to know how they've approached it in the past and how they want to approach it in the future as well.
Number 3 is, what are you looking to get out of this relationship? What is the end goal or purpose of the relationship? If it's just to kind of date around, have fun, and for that person, and your goal is to eventually find a marriage partner, then that might be an issue.
Yeah, something that Emily and I talked a lot about, it was what was the point of us dating? What was the point of our relationship? And we were on the same page about this, is that we wanted to know, is this the person that, God has planned for me to be with? Because we believe as Christians that God has a plan, God has a purpose for our life. And, being married is a great thing, it's fun and it's a cool thing. But one of the main purposes for us of marriage is to help us to serve the world in a better way, to help us accomplish more and to be able to share God's love in a better way. And so for us, knowing that this was something that we shared actually helped us to move forward in our relationship with a lot of security and say, hey, you know what? I think this is probably gonna be a really good thing for us. Question number 4 is, how has your relationship with God changed in the past 5 years? This is a question that I really like to ask because it assumes that they are in a relationship with God and that relationship is growing. So one thing that I'd caution you is, hey, if their relationship with God has not changed in the last 5 years, then really what is God doing in their life? Unless God is already saying, you know what, they're perfect, they've done everything right, God is trying to work in their heart, God is trying to change their lives in some way, shape, or form. And if they're aware of that or not, that might tell you something.
Yeah, are they in a stage in their relationship with God, they've been lukewarm for 5 years and they're not looking for growth and getting closer to God, then that is a red flag.
Yeah, and it doesn't mean that the last 5 years of the relationship with God has to be absolutely perfect, because there's growth, there's failures, there's areas where we want to grow and learn. One thing that I actually really appreciated with how Emily was sharing her story with me is she's actually saying, in the last couple of years, I've actually strayed away from God and I've really kind of made a couple of mistakes. But I really feel like God is calling me back to Him, and I've been doing this for a couple months now. This is something that I'm really wanting to take seriously. And for me, I admired that about her, that she was willing to own up to mistakes, and that she was really saying, this is how I want to move forward in the next couple of years or months, or just indefinitely in the future to come.
Mm-hmm. Number 5 that you should ask your potential significant other is, who in your life has impacted you the most, and in what way?
I really like this question because it helps you gain a lot of insights and just kind of knowledge about that person's background and kind of where they've come from and some of the stories that mean a lot to them in their life. One of the stories that Emily shared with me on our very first date when we were speed dating was actually the story of her older brother, Brandon. Emily lost her brother, Brandon, how many years ago?
About 13 years ago, and he asked me about him and how he has impacted my life in a spiritual way, and really was kind of someone I looked up to and held similar values with.
Yeah, you were you were young. You were like still in junior high or high school around that age. And she shared the story of finding out that her brother had died and kind of what that did for her relationship with God and how that was a challenging moment and kind of what she learned about that. And so it was a really good way for me to get insight into kind of her history, her past, and to also be able to meet someone, even though not face to face, to learn about this person who has done so much for her, and it gives me kind of a greater appreciation for who she is today. Well, there you go. Those are 5 questions that we think you should consider asking before you start dating a significant other. We'd be interested in hearing what you guys have to say, and what questions would you encourage other people to ask before they get into a serious relationship. Let us know in the comment section below. Just as a reminder, before you go, we are doing an entire series this month on dating and relationships, so if there's any questions or subjects that you want us to talk about, make sure you let us know in the comment section below. Until next time, we're That Christian Vlogger, and we want to encourage you to experience faith in the first person. God bless.